This one's about the time we heckled Jimmy Connors till he loved us. Stick with that. So I grew up in Northern Virginia in the 70s, and tennis at the time was very staid, but in the 70s it was going through a little bit of metamorphosis. There was an opening for the everyman to become a fan because of Jimmy Connors. He was brash, he was profane, and it spawned a generation of other profane, brash tennis players, but he was a pioneer in assholiness. We were assholes, so he was all the young kids' favorite tennis player. And he comes to DC when I was a teenager to play in a tournament at Carter Barron. And we show up, they sold 3 sizes of beer, regular, large, and tub. And of course, we're getting the tubs. And we were already lubed up before we got there. And we got there late, so the only seats that are available for Connor's match are the front row at the baseline. So we take the front row seats. And as it turned out, the guy who would hand Connors balls and let him towel off his rackets was standing right in front of us. So Connors, when he was on our side, he'd be right next to us. We'd been heckling him because it just seemed like the thing to do. we acted like we were at a baseball game. You know, in the old days, like if you did it to Rod Laver or something, you would have been thrown out of the stadium. But Connors, for some reason, because of who he was, he embraced it, and he starts laughing. Like when we say, "So win this one for us, Jimmy," and he looks around, he's giggling. He goes, "Win or lose, you guys are on me the rest of the week." We look at each other then, and we stop any kind of animosity. This guy's our buddy now. We're going, "Come on, Jimmy, come on, Jimmy," and he wins. Connors wins. So after the match is over, lo and behold, here comes Jimmy toward us. He's walking out, and we're going, "Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy Connors." And he sees us, and rather than just blow by, he stops. He goes, "Hey, let those guys in here." And they do. We get behind the fence. He says to this guy, Charlie Brotman, he was the guy running the tournament at the time. He says, "Get these guys passes for the rest of the week." And we're going, "Oh, this is amazing." And you could see, we looked at Charlie, who was an older guy, and he was disgusted. He was disgusted with us. This is not what he's used to. This is not why he got into PR for tennis. But he's the top draw saying, "Do this," he's going to do it. So next thing we know, we got these laminates around our neck. And tennis at the time, if you people have ever been to a tennis tournament, they catered to a very rich audience. Their hospitality tents were like nothing we'd ever seen. And we had all access passes. We're teenagers, 4 drunk teenagers turned loose with free everything. And I remember we're in the players tent, and I see my friend Mark coming out of the food trailer, and he's walking out of the ramp, and he's got an armful of ham and bottles of beer. Our behavior did not get any better, and Jimmy wasn't there to save us that day. He ended up losing his second round match. But we were still hanging out at the tournament, and all of a sudden now Jimmy Connors is out, the draw's gone. Here comes Charlie Brotman, the tournament director. His expression hasn't changed. He looks at us and he says, "I have gotten complaints from every quadrant of the stadium about you guys. Get out, just get out." We were dying because Connors was gone. The matches, we'd seen enough for the day, so we left. And by the time I sobered up, I felt bad, and then I felt bad about our behaviors. And then I got older and got into sports writing. One story I'm doing, I kind of need Charlie, and so I go to his office. And this is 25 years after the fact. I told him, you know, I apologized and said I was not a good guy, and went over, and he remembered the Jimmy Connors tournament incident, but rather than hold it against me, he just laughed about it and made it clear that he's dealt with bigger assholes in his life, which, thanks, Charlie.